Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Online Teaching Show. My name is Tim, and I'm so glad that you're here. If you're watching live, you know the drill. You can chime in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, should be on the right-hand side there. And if you're watching on Facebook, welcome to you. How's everybody doing? How was your weekend? Let us know where you're tuning in from. It's always cool to see the global online teaching audience. And I've already got a few folks who said hi, so thanks for that. Hi, Mary. First one to comment, a regular on the show, as well as Katie. Hi, Katie in Japan. And Claudia is in Indianapolis, Indiana. Cool. And we've got Magdalena on Facebook from South Africa. Very cool. And Kinga. Hey, Kinga. I am having a good start to the week. Actually, I'll say today was very productive, which is always a great way to start the week. You want to kind of have a good start on a Monday to set the tone for the week. And my students are all back to their classes in China. Mostly, I would say one or two seem to have a couple extra days. But yeah, where are you teaching? Are you teaching with companies? Are you independently teaching? Most of what I talk about, especially on the shows, is independent teaching. But if you are still someone that's brand new to the world of online teaching and you're kind of looking for a company or two to apply to, you can head over to my website, onlineteacherdude.com, and I have a button at the top that will give you a list of a few that I recommend. So head on over there if you're brand new and you're kind of like, what is this online teaching thing all about? But I certainly promote independent teaching and doing this on your own, where you can charge more and have more freedom and flexibility. And that's what we're going to talk about today with a fellow teacherpreneur, Melissa, who I had on the channel. I was just checking earlier today, I think it was a year ago. Melissa is a wonderful person in the online teaching space who shares a lot of great content and motivation and inspiration for online teachers. So I'm really excited to have her here. And if she's ready, I'll see the thumbs up. I'll bring her up. Welcome, Melissa.
Hey, Tim. Good to be here.
Hello. It's been a year. Actually, I was checking. It was January the 17th, I think, something like that. Yeah. So and you reached out to me a couple weeks ago. By the way, before we start, if you are watching and you're watching the replay and you have a story to share, or you've had some successes with online teaching, I would love for you to reach out and let me know. I'm always looking for folks to interview on the Monday Live. So that's what Melissa did. I was like, yes, heck yeah, let's bring it on. So
time for a check-in.
Yeah. So anyway, welcome to the show. And what have you been up to in the last year? And where are you coming from?
Yeah, so I am from the U.S., from the great Commonwealth of Virginia, but currently live in South America, in Ecuador. So that's where I'm coming from. And yeah, it's been a big year. I mean, I guess maybe when we were talking mostly about how I was diversified. You know, after working with VIP Kid for a few years, then had to kind of branch out. So was mentioning the various places that I teach. And good news, I'm still very diversified, and I'm probably even more so now, just with things that go beyond the actual teaching. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, right. I think the title of the live last year was Diversify, or Homeschooling Mom of Four to Teacherpreneur, Diversify Teacherpreneur. And, you know, I think I talked about this a lot on my channel, even when most of us were working for companies, just the need to not kind of put all your eggs in one basket. And you were, you know, sharing some steps that you were taking and some tips around that. And what sort of things, like, what does your teaching look like now? What are you doing with teaching?
Yeah, so I'm still teaching online. I've got those minute-to-minute classes. So that's kind of my bread and butter in terms of income, is those group and individual classes. So I teach for an organization on OutSchool. I teach privately on AllSchool. I am privately teaching students in China, as well as groups of students in Korea. I got connected with a woman who I work with there. So I've got a little bit of everything, which is kind of nice. I never get bored, which is great. But all that to say, that's a lot of teaching. At least it feels like it. I feel like more people, other people may teach more than me. A day of teaching is only 2 or 3 hours a day. I know many of you teach more than that. So 2 or 3 hours a day. And I have tools that I've kind of put in my toolbox to make that easier. Things like ESL Pals, that's kind of my go-to curriculum. I just am able to grab those this morning. We were talking about how yesterday was an election where I live, and I was like, just kind of let everything kind of go. And then this morning I go, oh no, I forgot to plan my one-on-one class this morning. And boop, I know she's level 2 in ESL Pals, download that, get that in there. And so that's just one of the things that has been, I'm kind of the queen of free as well. And so I don't pay for anything if I don't have to. And that's one of the things I've chosen to pay for because I see the value in it. And so,
cool.
Finding tools like that.
So just to back up, how is, I want to ask you, because I don't work there, but how is OutSchool and AllSchool? And you mentioned an organization. Many people may not have a clue what that is. And also that you're teaching independently on AllSchool. Is that what you said?
Off of platforms, just straight up teacherpreneur. Thanks to you, learned a lot of the steps to that. But yeah, OutSchool, I teach for an organization called Brain Train, 21st Century Skills, Gifted Inspired Learning. Love those classes. And I'm now kind of an administrator for them. I'm the head teacher with the organization. And so that means I'm training new teachers and checking curriculum and stuff like that. So if we're talking about diversifying as well, I mean, that's another type of income that I have is kind of level 2 in terms of being a teacher and then stepping up to being an administrator. That's something that brings in a little bit of extra income.
Do you work with Carolyn Wise? Is she still with
Caroline Wise? Trained me. She has moved on to greener pastures and awesome thing. She's working on some new things as well. So she's no longer with Brain Train, but that's how I got in there. Yeah.
So for those watching, OutSchool as a marketplace was very popular in the pandemic. I've just kind of watched waves of teachers kind of go through it and feel like it's saturated, and then it picks up again. And then some people that are really consistent do quite well. Yeah. What's the key to OutSchool in your opinion? You've obviously done quite well with it.
Yeah, key to OutSchool is having a good handle on SEO, I would even say. That's been something I've learned a lot about this year, is figuring out what are parents searching for. And there are lots of different ways you can search for what people are searching for. Answer the Public is one that I use often, just figuring out what people are looking for. But in terms of OutSchool, you need to make sure that you are consistently advertising elsewhere, that you are having good customer relationships, responding quickly to messages, refunding. I err on the side of refunding more often than probably most people would, but that builds the relationship, that builds the rapport with families, so they'll come back. So at Brain Train, as far as I know, the stats go, they have one of the highest retention rates in terms of students. So students will stay in our classes for months and months, complete the whole curriculum, and go for round 2, just because they love it so much. And so it's a unique thing. But I would say find your niche, figure out what you love teaching, what you're good at teaching, and then execute.
Yeah. Cool. So you kind of get your fingers also in like independent teaching with Chinese students.
Yeah.
Was that something you were doing last year, or is that you were?
Yeah,
okay.
And they're the same kids, but I've added a couple more just via word of mouth, which is a tricky thing to do these days because a lot of families are a little bit more guarded in terms of how they'll reach out to friends. Maybe they'll share that their kid is taking class, stuff like that. So I'm really grateful. The families that I've had, it's funny, I just got a message from one of the moms. She said, it's our 80th class. Send me the next invoice, please. And I was like,
yay,
look
that's
at you,
great.
Keeping track. And so it's kind of a cool thing to look at. But those have shifted. I used to use ESL Pals for a lot of those kids, and now a lot of it is more public speaking based. So that's kind of a niche that I've stepped into. Yeah.
Were these former students from companies mainly, and do you fully rely on referrals, or do you do any kind of marketing on WeChat?
I have not stepped into Xiaohongshu, although there are really great resources out there. I've learned a lot from Kinga and Chris at Create and Funnel to be able to, learn how to use Xiaohongshu, but I don't feel the need to do that because I am so diversified. I've got a good load of things going on right now, and I don't necessarily need to step out and do more there. But the kids that I have were all VIP kid friends that I hopped on WeChat there at the end, and word of mouth. So no, I haven't done any extra.
Because I think about the sustainability of independent teaching and while like referral marketing is like so awesome. I mean, I really do say you just need a couple of students to get started.
Mhm.
Sort of relying on that versus like if that's your only source of income and you really want to build up the sort of, as you call it, minute to minute or sort of
Mhm.
trading time for money, independent teaching with one-on-one students. I think that there's like a need also to have some sort of a funnel going where you've got some new faces coming in, right? Because
Absolutely.
let's say you've got a batch of 5 to 10 students, and they're just not recommending you, or
Mhm.
that they've already recommended you, and those the numbers are sort of slowly dwindling. I think it's important to also have some
Supplements.
system in place to have like, yeah. But I
Yeah.
mean, for someone like you, you've got lots of different sources of income and you're not just teaching independently, but you've also got the companies. And then
Mhm.
what I'm really excited to talk about is like the other stuff, where you've been able to scale
Mhm.
without necessarily like working a ton more. So tell me like about just building a brand and what you've done over
Yeah, I
time.
think
You're
a
very
lot of
consistent.
yeah, and you named this, and teachers do this a lot. We name things in our students, and we say, "I see this in you. This is cool about what you
Yeah.
do." You said a lot of your story sounds like it's about connection, and I would
Yeah.
agree. I got connected, applied to all schools very early, and was a founding teacher. They started asking me, "Hey, will you create some content for us?" And I was like, I just hopped on social media in March. Like, I don't have Instagram. Like, I don't have any type
Yeah.
of way to do this, but sure, I'll make some. Like, it was basically professional development videos and like how to do like
Yeah.
classroom management online, that sort of thing.
Okay.
So recorded a few of those, and then was like, okay, I see where social media would be great for referring teachers, affiliate marketing, things like that. And so, since then, we've gone to Instagram, Facebook, and now YouTube. And so having those three places to share value, educational things with the teachers that I've worked with or that just connect with me. A lot of teacher coaching has come out of that, which is, a minute to minute thing. But the non-minute to minute things that have grown out of that are, again, a YouTube channel, which I'm working toward monetizing. I think that would be awesome in the future.
Yeah.
Affiliate marketing. So I work with a few brands as an ambassador. Now, these are not big chunks of the pie. These are small chunks that are
Okay.
nice. They're add-ons.
Mhm.
So I don't rely on any of those for month-to-month income. But when they happen, it's nice. So I'm working with ESL Pals. Again, I pay for that. I use it myself. So everything that I'm working with, every company that I'm working with, I use myself. And that integrity is really important to me, just to be able to then go out and say, hey, coaching
Yeah.
clients, hey, all school referrals, I see you trying to teach ESL. I think this might be a really good fit for you. ESL Pals is really affordable. It's downloadable, that sort of thing. I'm also working with VEI, which is a platform that kind of brings all the different teaching tools that we might need. Some of us here may have 3-4 different subscriptions for Zoom, for Stripe, like for Calendly, for an
How do you
email type
spell it?
service. VEI, VEI.
So it's like
And
an all-in-one platform, would you call
yeah,
it?
and
Okay,
very
I'm just gonna put it
affordable
in the
too.
comments.
Something similar that I also just started working with is Liveboard, which is more of a math science focus. So again, I don't teach math and science, but I'm a homeschool mom, and so I understand the headache that goes into drawing graphs and charts and stuff like that. That's all in there, and it's beautiful. I got to mess around with it, use it on my kids the other day. Very fun.
I
So
have heard
that
of
does the same thing.
Liveboard, yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it is
it's super
cool.
affordable. And so
Mhm.
figuring out what people need, watching these tools grow, and then showing them that, yes, you can invoice there, you can send messages there, you can actually meet there. And so you don't have to
Yeah.
have a Zoom thing. And Liveboard, you can record
Wow, that's
infinitely
cool.
on the
Neat.
cloud, which is my biggest. I bring that up because that's my biggest headache with Zoom, where I'm like, oh no, what am I going to
Yeah.
delete now?
Yeah.
So all these tools, I get a small kickback. There's nothing grand here, but I feel like it allows me to then share with other teachers, hey, this connection that I got from
Yeah.
somebody else, now I'm going to pass on to you. And so it's that connection
Yeah.
thing that I'm after, and I feel like is the valuable thing in our community.
Okay, let's say great stuff there. Let's say someone's watching and they're like, I want to be like Melissa. Like, how do you get your fingers in all these things? I mean, what do you, because someone might be teaching privately, and kind of maybe they've got an idea for like a digital course, or they've got an idea for like something that they could be something like non-teaching related, but that step to actually like making these things happen, or I have people asking me like, how have you been able to do this and that, and it's a long-term process. Like, I've been on YouTube for 4 years or 4 or 5 years, and it took forever to get it started. But as I started to see what people wanted me to talk about and started sharing things that helped answer questions for people, it sort of happens organically. Like, I don't think there's a do this kind of recipe. But what would you say if someone said, like, I would just love to have like these little pockets of income passively? I have the same as well as you, Melissa, with affiliates and referrals. What would you say? What would your tip
I would
be
say
for that?
start sharing what you know. Make those connections. Again, I started with zero.
Right.
I didn't have social media for 10 years of my like adult teaching life until last March. And then
many are like that too. Yeah,
and
for
many
sure.
are like that. And so learning the productivity tools of Notion. I think you actually threw that out one time, and I was like, I'm going to look that up. That is where my planning, my income tracker, all of that is in there. And
I've since moved over to Asana, but yeah.
Okay.
But Notion, I do use Notion for the teaching. So I have like, but I do the anyway, long story. But I do like my sort of to-dos. Yeah. But Notion's wonderful, and it has all of that.
That's great.
There's a lot of them out there.
I have dabbled in that a little bit just with some of my head teacher duties on Brain Train, just kind of figuring out, okay, who's working on this? When are we doing this? But anyway, finding productivity things that help, like Notion, like Meta Business Suite. Again, queen of free here. I'm not trying to pay for a lot of stuff. And so Meta Business Suite is not the prettiest. It's not the most glitch-free, perhaps, of content automation type things, but that's where I can load in Facebook and Instagram posts, make sure they all go out on time so that I don't have to worry about that. Again, I'm a mom of 4. I homeschool. I'm trying to be.
What did you call it? Meta
Business Suite. So it's Facebook's own creation.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And that's just how you publish things automatically. So I can load all that in. I've got months of stuff already scheduled out, and that way that can go out and it's one less thing on my plate. But I keep track of all of that in Notion. And then going through those tools, then I'm starting to put out content that I like. What would I want to see? What would I want to know from someone? So this is what I started posting. I posted about the things that I loved. I started using SL Pals, and I was like, I don't know that people would like use it like I'm using it. So I'm going to show you how I use it in an all school lesson. I'm going to show you how I use it on Zoom. I'm going to show you how I share my screen. I put all that out there, and I could charge people for it, but it's a quick thing and it's easy for me to produce. And so that's the sort of thing that helped grow and helped people come to see, oh, she knows about ESL Pals. She knows about all school. She knows about out school. She knows about organizations. I think I might want to follow her. Boom. And then things just start to grow, and you don't have to try as hard to do that sort of thing. But I would say building that kind of know, like, trust factor with people of like, hey, I can get with your speaking speed. I can get with your content style, and I can get with the stuff that you're putting out. I think I trust you enough to then.
Absolutely. And just, video is key, really, isn't it? And that's why YouTube is such a wonderful place, as well as short form Instagram stories, which I know you are really good at, or, if you're... See, I kind of prefer the long form videos over, I never really got into stories, and I've done a little bit, but it's so repurposable. You can create something on Instagram, put it on TikTok, put it on Facebook, put it on YouTube. I mean, they all now have long form or vertical short form, less than 60-second type of things.
And I would say Reels are where a lot of the companies that I now work with say, hey, we saw your Reel. We think we would like you to create one or 3, or we'll give you a contract for this. Or
that's great.
For example, I have a webinar series that I'm working on with They right now, and they give me a contract for that. And it was very open. So these are new companies. They're not perfect by any means, but the tools are something I can get behind because I think it's necessary for some
Yeah.
people. And so it's that sort of thing where
Awesome.
as you start creating things that feel useful to you and share them in
Yeah.
a way that people like and can get behind, then a lot of those brands might start to hop on with you.
That's awesome. Awesome. Claudia's husband owns his own company and he just trained his employees.
Nice.
Very cool. Actually, if you're
Very
looking
cool.
for someone to learn from as well, I follow Thomas Frank he's on YouTube. He creates so much, and his website has a lot of like free templates for
I do Hey
Notion.
Easlo, EASLO is another one, and he puts out a
Okay,
free template every month too. So it's a good one.
cool. And she's saying that thinking of the need to go solo. Wonderful. I just signed up with Super Kid in preparation to go solo. I know a little bit about them. I would say yes, you could, but you can also like really put the pieces together on your own without having someone take a cut. I don't know what they take, or I don't know enough about them really, but they're offering a solution as well for, I believe, curriculum and a platform maybe as well. I think they have like a beta version or something of an interactive
Like a dating
platform.
space.
Have you heard of them?
No, I haven't.
No.
Haven't. Cool.
Katie says still using Google Sheets for organizing. Yeah, we use Ding Talk to our company stuff. Never gone to Notion, but must investigate properly sometime. Yeah, I do like Notion. I use it strictly for the tracking classes, payments, and students. And then I just found the sort of checklist type of project system in Asana a little bit more user friendly, but Notion can do it all as well. Hey, Keishla, good to see you again. Gosh, I think Keishla was one of my programs. I think it might have even been a little over 2 years ago. Remind me, Keishla. I think it was, when I first moved to Bangkok. But that's cool. An outstanding English from TW. Don't know where that is. Taiwan? Oh, maybe Taiwan. Yes, it could be Taiwan.
Cool.
Yes. So okay, I want to talk about scaling while not overworking yourself. And so, did we cover that? We talked a little bit
pretty much. And I would just say, like, having a good. I learned this from Abby Allen, who's on Instagram teaching together, and she talks a little bit about going through and like monthly. She does this really well. She has a day-to-day where she goes through and looks at. This is why I wanted an income tracker, because I was like, I think I know how much I make a month because I do track that, but I wanted to know like percentages. I want to see like a good pie chart right there. And she said, look at your biggest chunk, invest the first hour that you have in that. How can you make that bigger? I'm like, oh shoot, I haven't been. I've been working on these other things, which is fine. It's good to, try new things and reach out there. But that was kind of a big thing for me, is like, don't reinvent the wheel. If you've already got a good amount of income going, could you boost that? Or do you really need to look somewhere else? And all that new stuff should come from data, should come from, real solid facts, not just, I feel like I like this type of class and moving on there. No.
Yeah. So double down on what's working well. I think that's really great. Okay. So like, what are your sources of income? People like to know this kind of thing.
All right. So private tutoring, one-on-one private kids, group classes in Korea, working with someone else who she obviously takes a cut, but I get paid a good amount per student per kid.
Okay.
So that's,
and how did you get her?
That was a contact. It was a contact, but we kind of met via brain train stuff and started talking and outside of that, and then got connected there. So working with her, group classes, all school, working one-on-one classes and group classes there. But I only teach like 3 or 4 hours a week on all school. So very, very little. Then let's move into, then brain train teaching on OutSchool, and then affiliate stuff. So ESL Pals, Vay, Liveboard, and referring teachers to all school, which I do then a little bit of teacher coaching on the side. So I offer my referrals a free coaching session just because I am getting paid for that basically. via the payments. And if I coach them well, I
Yeah.
assume that they will make it through the whole thing, which usually they do.
Good for you. I don't do that anymore. My referrals are now passive clicks on
Mm-hmm.
basically my website and my videos. But yeah, when I was really actively referring for VIP Kit, I used to do that too. It reminds me
Mm-hmm.
of those are fun days. I used to do
It's
group
fun to hear
coaching with
people's stories, right? You get to hear what
what's
people are
that?
coming from, it's
Yeah.
fun to
Oh
hear
yeah.
people's stories. That's
I got to
something
know
that
a lot of them.
I realize it's time
Hmm.
consuming, but it's something that I really like. And so that's the other factor of like income, time that I have, but also like, do I like it? And do I want to keep doing
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's great that you do that. And it's cool
Mhm.
because I mean you're working for all schools, so you're able to, provide um,
Insight.
good advice for people
Yeah.
to apply to and stuff
Mhm.
like that. That's really good. I had a contact at all schools. She ended up resigning, I think,
Mhm.
yesterday or last week. I think
Oh,
Emily, I think. Anyway,
okay.
yeah, she was the
Yeah.
one that I was because I have done a little bit of work with them
Yeah.
um, through a couple of videos and a little bit
Mhm.
of referring, but
Great.
awesome. So, and yeah, so affiliates, referrals, coaching.
Coaching
I mean,
and teaching.
the cool thing is like what I have found in my journey, and I hope this is inspiring for those watching that, once you start to sort of like position yourself in your own mindset as a teacherpreneur or whatever you want to call it, someone that, really wants to build something for yourself. And you really work on your mindset and think about that you are capable of doing these
Mhm.
things. It might seem a little bit like out there or affiliates.
Imposter
Maybe you're watching,
syndrome.
you don't even know what an affiliate is,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, that people start reaching out to you. And if you put yourself out there, you know, it just, people will start following you. And
Mhm.
sometimes we think that, well, this is just such basic stuff. But there's always people that need to know it and learn it and want to hear other people going through it. It gives them motivation and inspiration to keep going. And so
Yeah.
what I was kind of getting at was once you start, for me, it was starting a YouTube channel. And then all of a sudden, people start reaching out and they actually want to learn from you. And then you create things that are going to help solve people's problems. And it just sort of, and then your mind just opens up to the world of the internet and what's possible now to
Mhm.
be able to make money. We
Absolutely.
don't have to necessarily just sit teaching our one-on-one students
Yeah.
at a good rate. It's definitely
At a
better
good
than with a
rate.
company, but it's cool. So I just
Yeah.
love,
And having
I
those
feel like,
tools to draw from too.
yeah,
What you create then becomes stuff that you can offer in, coaching sessions. For
yep,
me, I'm like, oh, I made a YouTube video about that. I made one about this too, and this one. Go ahead. And so there's that
yeah,
sort of thing where you then can offer up what you've already created. So
totally. And I bet if you look back, for me, I do this all the time. I'm like, well, look at the skills I've learned. Look at the thing. Like I left my classroom position. I was a teacher, but I didn't know anything about marketing, making videos. I mean, all these things that we've learned just
yeah,
by putting ourselves out there. It's
yeah.
so cool. And
The
every
idea of skill acquisition is huge. I feel like, and
Yep, and you're
it's
never
it's
too
all
old to
out
learn a
there.
new skill. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're never too old to learn a new skill.
yeah,
I can just count so many teachers who, initially thought, well, I'm just too old to do something like this. Maybe they're in their 60s, or I think about Julie, who's often watching the show. She's,
oh, she's awesome.
just amazing of the skills that she wants to learn, and isn't afraid to try because,
Mhm.
once you have a little success with something, you realize that you are capable of doing it. So
Yeah,
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 it's really,
absolutely,
really cool.
absolutely.
Well, that is awesome. Anything else, Melissa, that you want to share that we didn't cover? That
And I would
Mhm.
say try those things. I think what
Yeah,
you just mentioned is a big thing. As we are teacherpreneurs, we do have a little bit more leeway, perhaps, with our time. Yes, we do need to make an income. That's important.
hmm
However, there is usually an outlet to try something new. And so I would say try it. Teach yourself a new skill, set some goals, and step out there to try to bring value in your own way, whatever that may
yeah,
be. So perhaps you are an older teacher and you can reach out. Your niche is then going to be the older teachers out there. Do that.
exactly.
For me, my niche is somebody who's already out there, but is kind of disgruntled with where they're at right now. They want to make
Mm,
more. They want to make it easier. They want to streamline. That's kind of
yeah,
where I'm focusing my energy. And so it's once you identify that, it's real easy to just start offering out what you've learned.
Yeah, and as I tell, teachers that go through my course, like just put one foot in front of the other, do one small thing every day that's not overwhelming, even if it's just, hey, I'm going to set aside these, 25 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever, and work on something. You'll be amazed after a month if you really do that every day, what kind of progress you've made
Absolutely.
towards your goal, and you will eventually get there. So
Yeah.
I love it. Where can people find you?
Yeah, I am Melissa's Teaching on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook.
So
Would
go
love to
give
engage
Melissa
with
some
anybody.
love on
Yeah,
YouTube. She's trying to get monetized. That's always like the first. Don't
hurdle.
expect to retire on it, but
No.
it's a nice little extra.
But it's another
Believe
source of
me.
income. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like last year I had so many different little things. It all added up, right, to something good, and it
Right.
was a little bit here and a little bit there, and I'm grateful for all those things.
Yeah.
Collectively it's good, but individually it's not something to rely on. But
Yeah.
let's help you get there for sure. That would be great. So Melissa is Teaching, and then
Mhm.
Instagram, I know you're really active there, right, at
Same thing.
Melissa's Teaching.
Yep. Melissa's
And
Teaching
I've got those
everywhere.
links in the video, so you can
Thank you.
click on there.
Awesome.
And you have a website as well?
Got a website. If you are on any of those social media platforms, then my link tree will be there. My website is there. But per
Okay,
your recommendation, Tim, strikingly, I'm still on Strikingly, still going strong, still
awesome.
free.
Okay, yeah, I love that.
And yeah, that's just kind of where everything lives. But all the others you can
Okay.
find there.
Well, honored to have you back. Thank you so
Thanks for
much.
having me.
Always great to chat. Yeah. Do you have a
Absolutely.
busy day ahead?
We got a holiday here, but kids are
Oh, yes.
downstairs finishing up breakfast, and yeah, we would be homeschooling, but we're not today. So no limits
Okay.
on
Enjoy a
on
little
that.
break.
Yeah, thanks. All right,
Thanks,
bye, Jen.
Melissa. Take care.
Thanks.
Thanks again for coming on. See you soon. Well, that was wonderful. Thanks again to Melissa for being my guest and sharing just some great inspiration for you. And I also get inspired just talking to folks, other teachers who are doing great things, because it can be lonely when you're just doing things on your own. And I found that many times. I don't have a team or anything like that. It's just little old me. And so we need each other. And one of the themes I think that came out is just connections and building those connections with people, whether it's on Facebook or wherever you are, and you are seeing other online teachers, connect with them. And it's a great way to grow and to learn and to be able to scale your business. So thank you to those that are watching. I haven't really kept up with too many comments. We've got Australia here. Cool. It must be late for you because it's 9:30 here. But yes, it's a whole new world. My mother-in-law thought teaching with VBK was a little hobby I had. Yeah, and it's just it's cool what is possible. So thanks again, everybody. It's been great to see you in the chat, and I will see you next week for another interview. And hope you have a great week doing whatever you're doing, teaching or building your business. I will see you next time. Take care.